Hey there, welcome to the garden. Starting off another garden week, and tonight we are doing a little bit of a harvest, which is so exciting. I cannot believe how much the garden has changed in like basically just a week, which is just kind of wild. But I've been getting cucumbers. The salad bush cucumbers are starting to produce, so I have been getting cucumbers. I have been getting tomatoes, the pink lemonade, is it pink lemonade? Lemonade mix. Cosmos are blooming and they look fantastic. There's a little baby tromboncino right there, which I'm really hoping that it got pollinated and everything. And yeah, let me show you how the garden's looking because we have new containers. I mean, it's just, amazing what a week will do at this time of year in the garden. So I'm really hoping that this little squash here got pollinated. I'm really gonna try to come out here and even hand pollinate it, but I can't tell if this flower opened today and then is it done blooming or if it it looks like it already opened. So maybe I'll have to try. There's a flower here. I'm not above doing some hand pollinating if need be. This I know opened. Okay. All right, let me put the camera down for a second. What's that TikTok sound? It's like, they'll never know. They're gonna know. They'll never know. Get some pollen, little friend. This is definitely not, here we go. Well, hopefully that works. That is definitely not a tutorial in how to hand pollinate your squash. I usually should wait till this thing is open. I think it opened today though, and I think I just missed it because I've been busy running in and out of the house with the girls and everything. So I did not get a chance to spend some time, but there's another female flower here. So that's really exciting. And there's also some female flowers over on the little patty pan squash too. So maybe we'll be having squash harvests soon. That would be, well, for me, that would be so exciting to get a squash harvest. I am gonna grab some of the tomatoes out of this bed, and the dahlia that I planted in here is looking beautiful. It's doing so good. It's so happy. And the salvia looks good in this bed. So both of these look pretty content. And then we've got a bunch of tomatoes. So the Juliet tomatoes, this is what Juliet tomatoes do. They just produce and produce and produce. Look so good, look so happy. And I've been picking a bunch of these tumbler tomatoes. This is a determinate tomato, so this plant is not gonna keep, producing forever. Of course, I didn't even bring out anything to put these in, but lots of tomatoes on this. I actually might save, these aren't quite fully red, so I may wait with these and I'll let my daughter harvest them. But this is the unplugged pink salvia. It is looking so beautiful, doing great in here. And then I think we're gonna get some of the Mystic Illusion dahlia bloom soon. As you can see, they are starting. And we have the spoon tomatoes, but I'm gonna let my daughter harvest those because she loves them. And then look at the Black Knight pink cushion flower. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite. This might be my favorite flower in the garden this year. It's so pretty. Although, okay, let me show you. Let's walk over to the kitchen garden bed because I have wanted to grow the lemonade cosmos for years and years, and I just never grew them. I am so glad that I grew these flowers. Are they not beautiful? They're a little softer, more muted color than I kind of imagined from the seed packets, but I think I like that. I think I almost like that more. I think they're stunning. I just could look at these all day. I think they're so pretty, and they're a big, a bushy plant. I'll get back so you can see how they look. I did move a few containers around in the garden too. Look how pretty they are. Oh, and they look great. They're great mixed with these zinnias. I particularly like them with these little yellow. This is just how the Oklahoma mix, so it just happened that the yellow zinnias were next to them. But I feel like if you're doing a color pairing, that's a really nice combination because it kind of picks up with the yellow centers, but they really set each other off. It's just a really beautiful combo. And I mean, look at the garden right now. Oh my gosh, everybody, look at this. And look at the corn. The broom corn, not my best angle, but quite a good angle, the broom corn. Okay, for the reference, when I am filming this, it is July 6th. On the 4th of July, I did a video. I did like a reel. And I swear, it's grown like a foot. I can't even, it's grown so much, and it's starting to put the little like broom stocky. It's starting to. And I remember when I showed you all the seed packer for the broom corn, I think I remember talking about like, it was saying that it was only gonna be a couple feet tall. That must have been either a misprinting or I could have misread it, honestly, because they're obviously huge. I love it. So beautiful. I'm just checking right now because these are the ground cherries that are growing in and around the corn. And these ground cherries are starting to put off fruit too. I mean, everything is just coming into its own. I just feel like I have so much to update you on. I mean, like, look at these gypsy peppers. This plant is like a perfect little container pepper plant. Okay, and then there's cucumbers. We gotta harvest some of these. All right. There's a few of these salad bush cucumbers. Look at this, they're all over. These plants, it's like you have to stay on top of them. Every day I come out and there's like tons more new cucumbers. So let me get some clippers and we'll harvest those. Five cucumbers. It's crazy. These plants are amazing. So they're just covered. If you want a great container, small size cucumber, I just highly recommend the salad bush variety. Now, these aren't looking super healthy. I think I am dealing with either, I had like 1 week where I ran out of fertilizer. So I don't know if I'm dealing with a fertilizer issue, if they're getting too much sun. I did move this salvia container, which is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. I moved it over here to try to like give some shade from the afternoon sun to some of these cucumbers to hopefully help. And I've been also adding a ton more water, and I think the leaves are starting to look a little bit more green. I think they're starting to look a little bit healthier now that I've been adding more water. I'm hoping that's the case. In this bed, it's interesting because I have one plant. You can see the difference in the color. Like, one plant is this vibrant green and definitely putting off a lot more fruit, and then these are not looking as healthy and their fruit is kind of shriveling up and everything on the vine. So hitting them with some fertilizer, and I'm gonna also be watering this just like a ton more. I've just been trying to really make sure we get water, and we're actually in the middle of a heat advisory right now. So I've also been watering like in the morning and the evening if I can remember, to just try to get, especially plants like cucumbers, we're trying to get them enough water that hopefully they can get through this and not have too many issues. But 5 cucumbers, and I harvested like 3 the other day. Then, I mean, look at this. Oh my God. Okay. So then, I feel like I have so much to tell you. We've got so many sun golds. I'm gonna let my daughter come out and harvest these tomorrow because she's gonna be really excited. But there's the black from Tula tomato in there, starting to ripen. We may have some more. I think this is a paste tomato. I did start one paste tomato, and I think there's a paste tomato in here. And I'm trying to just get everything, enough water, enough fertilizer that everything stays happy. But the morning glory is starting to grow, and that's gonna start to grow up. I'm trying to train it. I just did a string from the arch down to its container. And I'm just gonna try to train this vine up here so it goes up and over. And then we've got the bachelor buttons in here. Look at these blooming. These sweet little bachelor buttons decided they were gonna start blooming and doing their thing. So I'll take it. And then down here, I have some female flowers on this, but I did not hand pollinate, and looks like that didn't get pollinated. But look, here's one. So tomorrow, what I'm gonna do is come out here tomorrow and try to hand pollinate this and see if we can't get a little sunburst patty pan. These plants, to me, look super stunted. That looks way smaller than a patty pan squash should be. But I'm just trying to go with it. I'm gonna see if maybe we can get a squash, at least like one. Would be worth it, because even the sunflower that's in this bed looks a little stunted to me too. So I just think that this container, at least in this area, is not doing so well. Although over here, like, look how healthy these dahlias look. And all of a sudden the zinnias decided to grow out of nowhere. So, I don't know. Hopefully the tomatoes will really take off soon. Of course, we've got the new containers. Look at this. And here, okay, these are the mammoth sunflowers. I think I'm gonna start like doing some kind of like video compilation or something over the next few days, watching these get huge. I think that would be fun. Okay, maybe I'll take that. Maybe I'll do that video. And then we can play back, you know, as the mammoth sunflowers grow. They're looking so good. I'm actually really excited. This little back swath of the garden, I planted it up kind of like unsure what would it end up looking like, what it would end up doing, given that it was just kind of like this little in-ground area. And it's actually really, the plants in the bed, I would say probably just in the last couple weeks, have started to take off. You know, in-ground space, as I'm starting to plan my garden for my next garden, I'm trying to think about like, should I do raised beds? Obviously I'm going to do tons of containers, but I want to do a lot of just like straight in-ground growing, maybe not even raised bed in-ground growing, like maybe just a lot of like in-ground growing, because I feel like plants just do so well. I don't know, maybe it depends a little bit on what soil you're using. Obviously you're in an area that's like rocky and you don't have the soil or something like that, you know, it's not going to work out quite like that. But if I have decent enough soil at my next property, I feel like I'm just going to do a lot of in-ground growing, because you can just see the health and the richness on the plants. That tromboncino squash right there, it's so vibrant. The green is just so beautiful and the plants look great. I mean, look at this corn. It's just a different sort of like tone. And I think, you know, I'm dealing with some water, some heat, some fertilizer issues. I'm sure it's my first year gardening the space and my containers. Even first year in a container garden, you know, you got to get all your systems in place. So, you know, but still, look how much, just look at that. It's so green. It's so beautiful. Got a lovely tromboncino, just looking gorgeous, corn, and then the mammoth sunflowers. And then actually one of my forage plants came up. We've got a few zinnias in here that I planted. I transplanted a couple of my millet plants in here to see if they would do well in ground. And then I do actually have some of the melons. So I don't know, I'm gonna be curious to see if we actually get some melons. Would be kind of neat if some melons actually came up out here. I don't know if they are going to, but that would be kind of cool. And look at the dahlias. Oh my gosh, I loving these new containers. And look at these dahlias. So pretty. And deadhead. But just so pretty. Oh, gorgeous. The agastache's gorgeous. Yeah, it really looks like a summer garden right now. Gotta have, you know, adding more zinnias. Actually really love this container. Oh, it's so beautiful. Hey there, so it is an absolutely beautiful evening. I came out tonight to put down a few coffee grounds. So I've been dealing with some issues with my cucumbers, just looking kind of that kind of yellow color that I was showing you yesterday. And I'm thinking, you know, despite the absolute crazy heat that we have in this garden, I feel like a little bit all the plants in the containers just look a little I don't know, I think it's just hard on them, like how hot and sunny it is out here. I also think we might be dealing with maybe I don't know, some kind of a deficiency. I've been fertilizing weekly, and I did miss like a week, but I've been fertilizing weekly. I'm gonna keep going with that. But I haven't put a lot of, it's windy, so I'm trying to hide in the shed here. I haven't put down a lot of like slow release fertilizer, and typically when I plant my container gardens, I mix in slow release fertilizer with my potting soil. And I think that makes a big difference. I think that's a really good thing to do. And I also typically put down like slow release fertilizer maybe like once a month or so, or every couple months, just, you know, just a few times during the growing season, but just to kind of like make sure that the plants get enough. And I was doing that a lot because it was raining so much. When I lived in Virginia, it would rain all the time, and so I'd feel like I was missing doing the water soluble fertilizers, because sometimes it would rain during the day that I was supposed to do that, and so I would miss it. But I realized I really haven't been doing any slow release fertilizer in this garden. I kind of don't know why. I think a little bit there's just a little hesitancy that I have to invest in this garden because it is such a short-term garden. And I just haven't bought like the same amount of compost and slow release fertilizer, that kind of thing. Like I just haven't done those measures. And I think it's showing a little bit in like just the color of the green in some of the leaves. Obviously things are still growing. I mean, the corn is huge, but I want to give my plants a little bit of something. So I've started just over the last couple of days, I collected some of my coffee grounds, and I think I'm going to keep doing this. This is not enough for, you know, all the containers, but it's just like a couple days where I should put this door back. That's not swinging constantly. This is just a couple days worth of coffee grounds, so it's not enough for all the containers. I'm gonna have to keep up on this a little bit over the next few days, but I figured, you know what, I should just put down some coffee grounds, some good nitrogen for the plants, and it might help with some of this like leafy green growth. You can also do some stuff with banana peels and like egg shells, and so I'm gonna kind of look into those options because my daughters eat tons of eggs and bananas, so we have tons of that. Obviously I drink lots of coffee, so I have a lot of coffee. I know you have to be a little careful to not put too much coffee grounds, I think, in your container. Sorry about the dog barking. The neighbor's dog is barking. Hopefully he'll stop soon. But you have to be like a little careful, I think, not to put too many, but I'm not worried about that anyways, I guess I should say. And I think part of the reason that even the water soluble fertilizer that I'm using isn't doing quite enough, obviously, for the garden, I think is because I'm just having to water this garden. I mean, I water it every day, which I guess is normal. I think that's what I normally do, but yeah, I don't know. I think not putting in the compost and stuff is taking its toll. It's so interesting with these new gardens and experiencing a new location and gardening in a new space. And I know I'm going to be doing that again. And so I'm just like, I think it's going to be an interesting couple years as I kind of try out new gardens and new spots. But so all I'm going to do with this is just sprinkle it. Since I don't have that much, I'm going to start with the plants that I feel like really need it. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit around the cucumbers, around the corn, and then over by these tomatoes that look like they need a little help too. So I'm just going to sprinkle that. I'm not going to do a ton, you know, just a little bit, just at the base of the tomato plants. Okay. See, okay. I'm going to put some by the cucumbers because that's who really needs it. Hopefully this helps you. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have to collect some more. Okay, I'm just gonna do that for a little while as we work on getting these plants to be more green, and hopefully it'll make the difference for them. I will keep you posted. We'll see. So today is I started this week a little early. So today is technically Sunday. So we'll check back maybe by like Wednesday or Thursday and see if it's had any effect. And I'm going to keep coming out with every day's coffee and just coffee grounds and just dumping them out here in the garden. The other thing I'm going to do is harvest a few of these amaranth seeds. So I've been trying to do more seed saving in the garden, and the amaranth is a fun one. I've loved this autumn torch amaranth so much. I saved some seeds earlier, and I think I'm gonna save some more because why not? So it's not too hard to save. You just kind of like, yeah, I gotta get something. I didn't even bring out a good container for this. Okay, I'm gonna run inside and grab a container, and then you just kind of pull the seeds off. Takes a little bit of like, hey there. So I just popped out here at the end of a long day, and I was just gonna do a quick, like, just harvest a couple things and water the garden. And then I started harvesting, and I actually like harvested kind of a lot of food. So I thought, you know what, I'll show you. Let me show you what I harvested because some exciting stuff came in. Okay, so we have 2 eggplants. These are the Japanese eggplants, and I think they're pretty small, or at least my plant is putting off pretty small fruit. I think these are ripe. So I went ahead and picked them. And then this is the Black from Tula tomato. I honestly was expecting it to be a little darker in color, but when I felt it, like, it's really soft. So I think it's ripe. And there was another one next to it that was starting to get some bug damage on it. So I figured, you know, I'm just gonna pick it, we'll eat it, see how it tastes. And you know, if I should have left it longer, but it feels so, like, so ripe, like so soft and squishy. It almost feels maybe it gets too soft and squishy, and it's a pretty color, isn't that? I mean, it looks, you know, looks fancy. So I figured I'd pick it. And then we've got a couple more cucumbers from the salad bush cucumber. We've got these tomatoes, which I have to go back and look at, like, one of my other videos and see. I can't remember what variety I don't remember what variety this is, but it's a nice kind of like paste style looking tomato, decent size. Of course, tons of sun golds here, but then it looks like one of my little pear tomato plants, this one is split, but I still picked it because one of my little pear plants made it and is one of the mystery tomatoes that I had. And look how cute, we're starting to get little pear tomatoes. The sun golds are really producing. Like, I'm getting a decent amount of sun golds, and I actually still need to go ahead and grab some of the spoon tomatoes, but they're so tiny. I've been letting my daughter just come out here and harvest them, but like, how cute are these? The absolute perfect, if you want to do like a kid's garden, these are perfect, although they are a very vigorous plant. And I am really happy to say that I have increased the water as well as quite a bit of the fertilizer in this container. I've been putting down coffee grounds for the last couple of days, and look at how much better the leaf color is on these tomatoes. And the ones over here by the arch trellis are looking so much healthier. They still don't look great, but they're looking so much better. I really just increased the water a lot and gave them, yeah, a lot more fertilizer. But look, there's some of the little pear tomatoes are in here. So this plant is growing up, and I'm gonna keep training it. And then I went ahead, I just popped my hyacinth bean vine pot in here, and I'm just gonna let it grow up with the tomatoes, because the tomatoes, I was a little worried. I mean, now they're starting to look better. It's starting to get some color in the leaf, starting to get some veining. They were just looking so pale and really terrible. But I figured, you know what, the hyacinth bean vine too, like, if nothing else, we'll have the hyacinth beans growing on the arch a little bit too, which will just add something, because right now the arch is still looking pretty bare. But over here, this is where I got the Black from Tula and those paste tomatoes. And there's another fruit down here, but I think, yeah, something, I'll just harvest it because something ate it. That's always frustrating when that happens. But we've got a couple more fruits coming up, and looks like the Juliet tomato now is starting to really take off, so I can tie some more tomatoes up on the arch trellis. It's time to do like the next round of tying up, so that's good. But you know, this I'm just gonna throw in my compost heap. That's a bummer, right? That's the thing about these like big beefsteak tomatoes, is when this happens, it's super frustrating. Sorry. Here's a success. So remember a couple days ago when I hand pollinated the Tromboncino squash? It worked. Y'all, look, it's growing. We're gonna harvest the Tromboncino squash off my container. Tromboncino. Now there's a few more female flowers coming. This one looks like it might have kind of died. You know, every so often that happens with a bud, that it just kind of like, I don't know, gets a little funky. But this one, I got another one coming, and I'm just gonna make sure that if I need to, I hand pollinate that. Let me put these down. I want to show you my patty pan squash, because I think it's taken a turn in these trough planters. I increased the water quite a bit more, and I've been really like making sure they get a full big dose of fertilizer. And then also I put in the coffee grounds. Look how much better, I mean, just in a few days, look how much better these trough planters are looking. Like, look how green and full. We've got the dahlias, these like yellow dahlias that I started in the spring. They're about to bloom. These Bennery giant zinnias are actually decided to grow. The beans are growing. I don't know what's happening to the pepper plant. It still looks a little funny, but it's growing. And I hand pollinated this patty pan squash today, and so hopefully that one will continue to to produce a fruit. I had one that didn't end up, it didn't get pollinated, but I've just been like literally pulling off one of the male flowers, and I hand pollinate it, and look, it's putting off more female flowers, and the plant is starting to look bigger. It was so small and kind of like unhappy and like just weak looking for so long, but now it looks great. I mean, it's getting better and better and better. So I don't know this container is like all of a sudden now looking good. Just, I don't know, what, 3 weeks ago it looked terrible. Now it looks good. We've got bachelor's buttons, which are really pretty. If you want a true blue flower, I mean, there aren't that many true blue flowers. But the bachelor buttons are one. They're gorgeous. So it's a little windy out here, so I'm gonna stay in the garden shed while I talk to you. The eggplant, so far I don't think I'm really seeing that much of a difference on the cucumbers and the pumpkin yet. They still are looking a little bit that yellowy color. But again, I'm just gonna keep working on them because I'm really encouraged with the progress that trough planter has made. Like, I did not expect that trough to be looking that good. It's really made progress. So of course, you know, this is how things go in the garden. As soon as like one thing starts looking good, now my front 3 beds, which were looking amazing, they're starting to look a little bit like off, and like they're struggling a little bit. So I'm just like upping the fertilizer. We're gonna make sure they get tons of water. I'm gonna try to water, like, if I need to, twice a day, because it's so hot right now. It's just really hard on them. But you know, I mean, the cosmos are doing beautiful. The zinnias are doing beautiful. In a lot of ways, it's doing really great. I mean, look at those cosmos. Like, look at that zinnia is beautiful. I just harvested the eggplants. That's, you know, this is the eggplant. And we do actually have, you can see some strawberries. But I think what I'm seeing here is the color returning to these leaves a little bit. So I think the fertilizer is working. They just needed another dose, and I'm just gonna have to really stay on top of it. Because I think maybe we're on our way back. You know, but yeah, I did harvest a couple cucumbers, so that was good. And it wasn't just off this plant, it was off some of these too. So that's encouraging. I'm waiting on those peppers to turn red. Here's the pumpkin, which I think needs more food. So I gotta really up how much food I'm giving pumpkin, because pumpkins are another one that are they're really hungry. And I don't really see many female flowers on here yet. Oh, awesome. Baby, this is some baby okra. We've got the zinnias doing great, cosmos, and then I harvested some of my own amaranth seeds, and I went ahead and did like a little germination test to see, and look at them coming up. So now I have to find a spot where I want to put amaranth. These are from, I did this a couple weeks ago as an experiment. This is from the autumn torch plant. And last time we talked, I said that I was going to try to harvest some seeds. So I did like a test round a couple weeks ago, and that's what started and coming up and doing really well. And I'm not going to harvest the seeds in the amaranth tonight because I do want to get back inside. It's kind of chilly out here, and I was only planning to do like a quick water and harvest. So I'm going to go back in, but I will come back out before the end of the week and show you how to harvest the amaranth, because it's super easy, really fun, and I'm really happy with the germination. As you know, one of my goals for this year is to work on my seed saving skills and to be able to keep, you know, actually saving seeds in my garden. And so that was a good start, to have the amaranth and actually have it be successful and kind of pass like a little germination test. You know what? I just thought of that tomato. Well, I don't need to save that many seeds. I'm gonna try to save some seeds maybe from some of these tomatoes too. I need to look up that whole process, because I know with tomato seeds it's like a little different, but I'll show you what we get up to with the seed saving. But anyways, the amaranth is super easy. I'll come back out next and maybe tomorrow and show you how to do that. Super fun. You basically just pull it off the plant. They're covered in seeds. I feel like amaranth is one of those things, I've never really grown it like this before. I feel like it's one of those things that if you have it in your garden once, you're probably gonna have it forever, because it's just like covered in seeds. You just pull them off. I use like a big bowl, harvest them into it. Just kind of like, you have to kind of like work their seeds, just seeds coming off everywhere, to kind of like work the stems a little bit. All right, we'll do that next. Talk to you tomorrow. Hey there, so it is the next day. I'm coming out here. I'm gonna harvest some of those amaranth seeds. I'm also gonna tuck up this tromboncino squash that's over here on the fence. It's doing so well. It's really happy, and I'm just trying to keep it going along the little trellis here. I don't know how long this trellis is gonna be like enough for it. I think these vines get really huge, but I've just been trying to weave it through a little bit. I'm basically gonna let it kind of grow wherever it wants and do whatever it wants, but look at how big these leaves are. You can really see the difference between this one and the one that's in a container. The corn looks so good too. This is glass gem corn, so I might actually get some ears of corn off this. I kind of like wasn't thinking when I planted it that I would. I just didn't know with this tiny little in-ground soil reservoir how well it would actually do, but it looks so good now. I think I might. And of course the sunflowers are doing great too. But okay, let's head over to the amaranth. Here's the other Tramontina squash. Still doing great. So the hardest thing with harvesting this is that it doesn't fly everywhere, and I have done it. The last time I harvested some of these seeds, I actually just harvested them into like a big bowl, but today I'm going to try using a Ziploc bag because I think I can avoid spilling quite as many. At least that's the goal, obviously, to amaranth and amaranth seed saving, but honestly there's so many seeds that even if we spill some, it doesn't really matter because like we're gonna harvest a bunch, and I already honestly have saved more than I really need for next year, but I just kind of want to, I don't know, I want to keep gathering some of it and just be able to have a ton in my next garden. I think it's so pretty. Love it. There's also a lot of spiders in here, so this hopefully, well, we'll just see how this goes. Okay, let me set up the camera. All right, so I will definitely defer to the amaranth, like real experts that know, but in my experience, like it's just so easy to get seeds off of it anyways, that doesn't really matter. You do kind of have to wait until the flowers have matured. When I first came out here to get seeds, I don't think most of the flowers were ready, like not as many seeds were coming off it. I still was able to harvest a decent amount of amaranth seed, but it wasn't like just falling off. Now it just falls up, and you just kind of have to like rub the flowers a little bit. What's nice though is that even when you take the seeds off, it still looks pretty. So even if you're, you know, going for a decorative look, you can still absolutely harvest amaranth and then still have it looking beautiful in your garden too, if you want to like save some seeds for next year. Amaranth is technically a grain, and so, you know, you could, I guess, if you harvested enough of this, you could cook with it or use it as a grain. I feel like I would have to probably cut the plant down and really like get all the seeds off if I wanted to do an application like that, but just for some seed saving, like look how many seeds are already in this bag. There's also a few bugs in here too, so we'll have to leave the bag open and let the bugs all crawl out. Now you're also going to get a bunch of little petals in here too when you do this, and you can kind of like put it in a bowl and then like blow, and all the little I don't know, SDF petals or bits around the seeds will kind of blow off because they're lighter. I'm not too worried at this point. I just want to harvest this, and then I'm going to put it all on a plate to dry, so I'll show you that. Just kind of like rub the flowers. Yeah, I'm kind of experimenting with the technique that I like the best. Again, not a master amaranth farmer. If you want an expert opinion, ask someone else. That's enough. That's more than enough seeds for me for next year. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Look how many seeds with just like, and then you just, there's also some little buggies in here, but and then a couple spiders. So everything that's coming off, for the most part, are just like the little petals, and then the seeds themselves stay down here. So now I just, like, what I've been doing is let this dry out for a couple days and then put it in my little seed saver. Get off, little spider. My little seed saver packs that I have, and then I'm just saving it for next year. And in next year's garden, hopefully we will have a ton of amaranth. As we saw in the seed trays, it's germinating really well. It's doing great. And and it's just such a beautiful, fun plant, like a big backdrop of this. There's some big, I think like some big drifts, especially. So our garden that I have next year is going to be starting from blank slate again. This is such a big, fast growing plant. I think it's gonna be perfect to like put in an area where I just want to have a big drift of something that looks, you know, really full and nice right from the get-go, and that'll be great. Okay, oh my gosh, it's such a nice summer day out today. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video now. I don't think there's any other updates that I haven't shown you out here. Garden's looking great. There are some cabbage moths flying around now, so I'm gonna have to start keeping, oh, there's a spider on my arm. Okay, I got that off. There's some cabbage moths flying around, so I've got to start to look out. You know, as we get into this July season, now we're starting to get into the caterpillar season. I always noticed in my last garden, at least, a big uptick in the caterpillar damage, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. But anyways, that is it from the garden this week, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye bye.